Ladies and gentlemen, dear veterans at home, welcome to Queen's Park. Bienvenue à la cérémonie de souvenir de la province de l'Ontario. My name is Captain Brandon Filato, et je suis honoré de participer à cette commémoration de ce jour de souvenir. I'm honored to be here this morning as your Master of Ceremonies. I wanted to start today's program by acknowledging that we are on the lands traditionally occupied by Indigenous peoples. They continue to care for this land and they continue to shape Ontario today. Traditionally, Toronto is a gathering place for many Indigenous nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, and the Métis people. I acknowledge that we are meeting in the area covered by Treaty 13, also known as the Toronto Purchase, and I pay my respects to the Mississaugas of the Credit. Derrière moi se trouve le monument dédié aux anciens combattants de l'Ontario qui a été érigé en 2006. Behind me is the Ontario Veterans Memorial, built in 2006. This powerful structure is a lasting tribute to our veterans. It serves as a continual reminder of the sacrifices made by those who have served and continue to serve our country during times of war, conflict, and peace. For millions of Ontarians, this monument is a reminder of the heroism, bravery, and sacrifice our veterans and the protection of our freedoms we have today. We gather on November 11th to remember and thank the millions of Canadians who traveled from home to serve. They served in the First and Second World Wars, the Korean War, and other international conflicts. And on this day in 2020, the Ontario's Veterans Memorial was expanded to include the tributes to the heroes of the war in Afghanistan. Nous nous rassemblons aujourd'hui en ce 11 novembre pour nous souvenir des millions de Canadiens et Canadiens qui ont servi loin chez eux pour les remercier. Ils ont fait leur devoir pendant la Première et la Seconde Guerre mondiale, la guerre en Corée et d'autres conflits internationaux. À ces mêmes dates, en 2020, le monument aux anciens commandants de l'Ontario a été agrandi pour inclure un hommage aux héros de la guerre en Afghanistan. By remembering their service and their sacrifice on Remembrance Day, we recognize the significant difference these men and women have made to our democracy, our freedom, and our future. The platform party will momentarily make their way towards the memorial. But first, the Premier will greet members of the Honour Guard, made up of soldiers from the 4th Canadian Division of the Canadian Armed Forces. Mesdames et Messieurs, si vous êtes en mesure de le faire, veuillez-vous lever pour l'arrivée des dignitaires en rester debout pour l'hymne national. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please stand for the arrival of the platform party and remain standing for this playing of O Canada. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Premier Ministre de l'Ontario. Mr. Rick Brizet, Member of Provincial Parliament, Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Député de Province de Hastings, Lennox, Addington, accompanied by Legislative Assembly Protective Officer. Honourable Mélanie Joly, Minister of Industry, Minister responsible for Canada Economic Development for Quebec Regions. Ministère de l'Industrie et le ministère responsable de le développement économique Canada pour la région de Québec. Brigadier General Eric Landry, Commander of 4th Canadian Division. Le Brigadier General Eric Landry, Commandant 4e Division de Canada, accompanied by the Division Sergeant Major, Chief Warrant Officer Lapointe. Lieutenant General Richard Romer, the Honorable Graham McGregor, Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism, Ministère des Affaires civiques de Multiculturalisme, Gary McGregor, veteran, Anishinaabe First Nation, Chiefs of Ontario, Gary McGregor, ancien combattant. Ms. Michelle D'Emmanuel, Secretary of the Cabinet and Head of the Ontario Public Service, Secrétaire du Conseil des ministres de l'Ontario et Chef de la fonction publique. Ms. Sharon Cadeau, Métis Nation Ontario, Nation Métis de l'Ontario. And Derek Moore, immediate past provincial president, the Royal Canadian Legion, the Ontario Provincial Command, président provincial sortant de la Légion Royale Canadienne, Direction provinciale de l'Ontario.
Attack! Tap! Reset! Mark!
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, qu'à ton bras c'est porter paix, c'est porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard. We stand on guard for thee.
Shoulder! Arm!
At 2 minutes to the hour, the act of remembrance will commence. À 10:58, l'acte de souvenir commencera. At precisely 11 o'clock from the north side of the Legislative Building, the first round of the 21-gun salute will be fired by the 7th Ontario Regiment, the Royal Canadian Artillery, followed by 2 minutes of silence. À 11 heures précis, le premier coup de la salle de 21 coups de canon aura lieu, suivi de 2 minutes de silence. The silence will be broken by the bagpiper's lament and the sound of the buglers playing reveille. This symbolizes the awakening of fallen soldiers in a better world and rouses their living to do their duty after paying respects to the dead. Le silence sera rompu par la lamentation du corps-mesure et son clairon juin, le réveil, qui symbolise le réveil des soldats tombés à combat dans un monde meilleur et qui incite les vivants à faire leur devoir après d'avoir rendu hommage aux morts. Please remain standing if you are able for the act of remembrance. Si vous êtes en mesure de le faire, veuillez maintenant vous lever pour l'acte de souvenir. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Ils ne corrompt jamais l'outrage ni le poids d'année. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. All together, please. We will remember them. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux. For those who can, please be seated. Pour celles qui peuvent, veuillez vous asseoir. I would now like to call upon Knowledge Keeper Miskwa Amikili Bresny, Mississaugas of the Credit Ojibwe, Anishinaabe First Nation for a blessing. J'invite maintenant le gardien de savoir, Mishka Anipik Besni, la Première Nation Ojibwe, Anishinaabe de Mississauga de la Credit, à venir offrir de bénédiction.
Nanabojo, Miskwa Nimki Benezi and Dijnakas, Megzini Dodem, Michi Sagi of the Credit in Dunjaba, Thorl Ninda. Greetings. My name is Red Thunderbird. I belong to the Eagle Clan from Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Let's go over there. Before we go to sleep and forget about the indigenous people, Bindagego Anago Gingoba Bindagego Anago Gingoba. Because that doorway is open, that doorway to understanding. And today, we're here to acknowledge and understand that we're here to remember and thank and honor the sacrifice that the service members had made for us to be here today. And on that note, on behalf of Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, I would like to thank and acknowledge and welcome our honorable leaders, our distinguished guests, and more importantly, our veterans, our service members, past and present. And with that, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Bamapigoam and Minowa. I will see you again later.
I now invite the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, to speak. Je vous présente l'Honourable Doug Ford, Premier Ministre de l'Ontario. Premier.
Well, good morning, everyone. And it's so nice to see so many people, men and women in uniform. But what I really like to see is so many residents of Ontario coming today to pay their respects. It's always a privilege to be here today alongside Her Honor, former Lieutenant Governor Elizabeth Doddswell. Honor, always great to see you. Minister Jolie, thank you for representing the federal government in Canada. Minister McGregor, all other MPPs, and Deputy Speaker Brzee, thank you for coming. Brigadier General, I'll tell you, Brigadier General Landry, thank you for your service, and Chief Warrant Officer Lapointe, Lieutenant Governor General, I should say, Richard Romer, General, you're my fave. You're the best, and thank you for your years and years of service, and you're looking like a champion as always. Veteran Jerry McGregor as well, Veteran Jerry McGregor, Sharon of Métis Nation, Ontario, Derek Moore from Royal Canadian Legion, Secretary D'Emmanuel, Chief Salt, good to see you always, and Elder, thank you. I'd also like to recognize we're joined by numerous consul generals from around the world. Representatives from the OPP and Toronto Police, Commissioner Creek, thank you for your service on all the men and women that serve. Police officers, firefighters, EMS, and many more. And most importantly, all the service members, veterans, and families who are with us this morning. Today, millions of people around Ontario and across the country are paying tribute to our brave heroes. In Canadian military, which we're so proud to have and support 1,000%, both past and present. It is the highest act of patriotism to put your life on the line in service of your country, in defense of Canadian values like freedom and democracy. That's why each year we come together to honor and to remember the hard work and sacrifice of veterans who have served in the Canadian Armed Forces. These extraordinary men and women leave behind their families and loved ones and the comfort of home to face the unknown and work selflessly to make the world a better and safer place for all of us. To the veterans and service members with us today, the debt of gratitude we owe, you can never be fully repaid. Let us also remember the brave men and women who never came home, whose lives were cut short in the line of duty. To ensure the freedom of their fellow Canadians and those living under oppression. Their selfless courage has helped not only to define Canada, but shape the history and safeguard our future. We will always honor their memory. This year, we mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Europe and an end to the Second World War, when over 1 million Canadian men and women returned home from military duty and began rebuilding their lives. We can never forget their sacrifice in pursuit of freedom and democracy and all they've done to help shape our great province and country and build a better world. On November the 8th, we also marked Indigenous Veterans Day, a chance to commemorate the sacrifices of our First Nations, Inuit, and Métis veterans, and those who are currently serving. We're very, very grateful. As we wear our poppies and lay our wreaths, think of those who have served and those who continue to serve. Let us remember the individual acts of courage and bravery. These powerful symbols represent to every veteran, service person, and military family in our province, we thank you. Ontario is proud of you. Canada is proud of you. Lest we forget.
Thank you, Premier. Merci, Monsieur le Premier. I now invite Brigadier General Eric Landry, Commander of 4th Canadian Division, to the podium to deliver his remarks. J'invite Brigadier Général Eric Landry, commandant de 4e Division au Canada, à venir prononcer son occultation. Sir.
Distinguished guests, mesdames, messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, c'est un grand honneur de prendre la parole aujourd'hui au nom des Forces armées canadiennes, alors que nous nous réunissons pour souligner le jour du souvenir, un moment de réflexion, de gratitude et de solidarité. Each year, on November 11th, Canadians pause to remember. We remember the courage of those who served, the sacrifice of those who never returned, and the legacy of those who came home forever changed. This year, we're marking several significant anniversaries in our shared history. The 110th anniversary of the poem In Flanders Fields, whose words still resonate today, reminding us of the cost of war and the importance of remembering. As the Premier said, we also remember the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Netherlands and the end of the Second World War, a global conflict that shaped our era and demanded extraordinary service from Canadians, people like General Romer. And the 25th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, a powerful symbol of all those who gave their all, yet whose names remain unknown. As we reflect today, we also honor the long-standing contribution of Canadian service members across the Americas. From responding to earthquakes in Haiti and Chile, to peacekeeping efforts in Central America, to search and rescue missions all over our continent. Nos vétérans ont servi avec courage et compassion, et leur présence dans les Amériques témoigne de l'engagement du Canada envers la sécurité, la solidarité et le devoir d'assistance. Remembrance Day is not just about remembering the soldiers. It's also about recognizing the cost of that peace, understanding the value of your freedoms, and recognizing the responsibility to protect them. Even if you have not experienced war or conflict yourself, the freedom and peace you have today are possible because of the courage and sacrifice of others. Our veterans fought for the rights and opportunities to allow you to live in a democratic and peaceful society. The world has changed since I joined the Army more than 31 years ago. Today we find ourselves in a situation of strategic competition. The rule-based order and the stability it has afforded is being challenged. We are arguably in a more precarious global security environment than we have been in several decades. Therefore, I want to thank the Canadian soldiers, past and present, for choosing to defend Canada. This is worth it. Your sacrifice and those of your families are worth it. Our Canadian values and our way of life are worth being defended. Le Canada que nous connaissons aujourd'hui, libre, démocratique et paisible, est le fruit des sacrifices de ceux qui ont servi. Ne tenons jamais ces sacrifices pour acquis. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux, lest we forget.
Merci. Thank you, General. And now I have the honor of inviting Honorary Lieutenant General of the Canadian Armed Forces, Richard Romer, to deliver remarks. J'ai l'honneur d'inviter le Lieutenant Général honneur des Forces armées canadiennes, Richard Romer, à prononcer son allocution.
happens from time to time. One is going to speak, and there's no preparation, therefore. Bring it around. Can you hear me? Yes, all right. Thank you. Does that work? Oh, that's fantastic. My name is Richard Romer. About 30 years ago, I was invited by the Premier of the day if I would put together a committee for the purpose of creating a recognition wall for the veterans who had served from Ontario. I took up the challenge and formed a committee of I think about 20 some odd people, and we began to build what is behind me now, which is the Veterans Wall. We worked for years and years with various organizations, various leaders of government and everyone else, and a lot of effort went into creating this memorial wall. The most recent effort was made by the wonderful Premier of this province, who accepted my challenge a year ago. I said, the wall that we do have here now has no name on it. And I would like you, if you would, to paint on it or create on it the name Ontario's Veterans Memorial. It has nothing on it, because on the other side of this wall is a blank it's a blank wall, shiny, perfect, and so forth. And the Premier, in his ultimate wisdom, agreed with me. He didn't have much difficulty in doing that. He said it would be done. Well, as you go out to the other side of this wall, on your way on to your next adventure, you will see the words in gold, Ontario Veterans Memorial. And it's there because of the intent of the Premier, who is very supportive of that. Behind me on the wall is a picture of D-Day. And the picture of D-Day shows my Mustang fighter on D-Day over Normandy, the beaches on the D-Day. It was I was told that we wouldn't be able to get that into a situation where you could be recognized, and of course the aircraft is there and the wall is there, and the Premier is a man of great responsibility for having all of this continue. My legs are vulnerable from serving in the regular force and the reserve and the Air Force, and great privilege that I cherish very, very much. I was going to make a little talk about not a sermon, but a speech I made in a cemetery in Holland this spring. I represented Canada, and my legs were working in it. And I spoke at a cemetery in Holland that has 2,300 Canadian boys buried there. I was really impressed by what I was doing. And so I talked to them as if they were alive and spoke as best I could for them in the circumstances. In any event, they're there, we're here, and we're remembering them today. And it's an effort that is something that I'm really pleased to see has been recognized by the hundreds of people here today and by the Premier of the province and all of the people involved in the pursuit of freedom and the winning of the war. I thank you for the opportunity of being here. I thank you for the pleasure, privilege of being alive and participating in this specific ceremony. And that's my wall, the Premier's wall, your wall, all for the veterans of Ontario. And it is a magnificent piece of architecture, and I'm so proud to have had a small part in its existence.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you, General. And now I'd like to introduce the quartet Maple Reserve to perform Danny Boy. Et maintenant, le Quatuor Maple Reserve qui va interpréter Danny Boy.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go and I must bide, But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. It's I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when ye come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear though soft you tread above me, and know my grave will warmer, sweeter be. For you will mend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Thank you, merci. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, since the Great Wars passed, many feel the memories of sacrifices passes with it. Of course, our gathering today proves that the memory of sacrifices made by our forebears remain in our hearts and minds. Today we are joined by Cadet Chief Warrant Officer Sonae Mondal and Cadet Sergeant Joel Marius to recall the experience of a Canadian soldier, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. Ils sont joints aujourd'hui pour évoquer l'expérience du soldat canadien John McCrae.
In Flanders fields. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Sacred's heart amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt on, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from falling hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Les cimetières flamands. Sous les rouges coquelicots des cimetières flamands, qui parmi les rangées de croix bougent dans le vent. Nous sommes enterrés, et dans le bleu des cieux, les alouettes encore lancent leurs cris courageux, que plus personne n'entend sous le bruit des canons. Nous sommes morts. Il y a à peine quelques jours, nous connaissons les joies de la vie, de l'amour, la fraîcheur de l'aurore, et les lueurs du Pont-Nord. Maintenant, nos corps sans vie reposent en sol flamand. Nos mains inanimées vous tendent le flambeau. C'est à vous, à présent, de le tenir bien haut, de contre l'ennemi reprendre la querelle. Si vous ne partagez des morts, la foi rebelle, nos corps ne pourront pas rester paisiblement sous les rouges coquelicots des cimetières flamands.
Thank you. And now I invite Lieutenant Colonel the Reverend Francesca Mastoroni, Chaplain 4th Canadian Division, to offer a prayer.
Today, we give thanks for members of the Canadian Armed Forces of every generation who have answered the call to serve our country. Each sacrifice shapes the peace of our country and thus cannot be forgotten. As Canada comes together today, may we be filled with inspiration and admiration for those who have given so much. C'est avec gratitude que nous nous souvenons de nos militaires et de tous nos anciens combattants qui ont tant sacrifié pour défendre notre pays et pour protéger les droits et les libertés qui nous sont si chères. Aujourd'hui, nous nous souvenons avec gratitude des sacrifices offerts par nos collègues, de leur souffrance, de leur courage et de leur dévouement. In a world fraught with struggle and instability, we gather to affirm with one another our determination to remove barriers of division in a spirit of reconciliation. May we one day achieve a lasting peace, lest we forget.
Thank you, ma'am. The memory of sacrifice is also preserved by the youth of our nation, and it is demonstrated by the commitment to remember, will be read by Cadet Warrant Officer, 2nd Class, Marco Fragrameni. Le mémoire de sacrifice est également préservé par la jeunesse de notre nation et démontré par la promesse de souvenir qui sera lue par l'adjudant 2e classe de cadet Marco Fragrameni.
The Youth Pledge, a pledge of remembrance for Canada's youth. They were young as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
Promesse du souvenir. Un gage de souvenir pour les jeunes Canadiens. Ils étaient jeunes, jeunes comme nous. Ils ont servi, donnant généreusement d'eux-mêmes. Nous leur promettons, en dépit du temps qui passe, de porter le flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence the laying of the wreaths. Mesdames et messieurs, nous allons maintenant commencer le dépôt de courant. On behalf of the Government of Ontario, au nom du gouvernement de l'Ontario, the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Premier Ministre de l'Ontario. On behalf of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, au nom de l'Assemblée législative de l'Ontario, MPP Rick Brezzi, Hastings, Lennox, and Addington, Député Provincial, assisted by the member of the Legislative Protective Service. On behalf of the Government of Canada, au nom du gouvernement du Canada, the Honorable Melanie Joly, Minister of the Industry and Minister responsible for Canada, Economic Development for Quebec Regions, Ministère de l'Industrie et Ministère responsable du Développement économique Canada pour la région du Québec. On behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces, au nom des Forces Armées Canadiennes, Brigadier General Eric Landry, le Brigadier Général. behalf of all veterans of all wars, en nom des anciens de combattants, Lieutenant General Richard Romer. The Honorable Graham McGregor, Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism. The Honorable Graham McGregor, Ministre de la Citoyen et du Multiculturalisme. On behalf of First Nations and First Nation veterans, au nom des Premières Nations et des anciens combattants des Premières Nations, veteran Jerry McGregor, Chiefs of Ontario, anciens combattants. On behalf of the Ontario Public Service, au nom de la fonction publique de l'Ontario, Michel D'Emmanuel, Secretary of the Cabinet and Head of the Ontario Public Service, Secrétaire du Conseil des ministres et de chef de la fonction publique de l'Ontario. On behalf of the Métis Nation Ontario, au nom de la Nation Métis de l'Ontario, Sharon Cadeau. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion, Ontario Command, au nom de la Légion Royale Canadienne, immediate past provincial President Derek Moore, Président. On behalf of Ontario's youth, au nom de la jeunesse de l'Ontario, 2 cadets will come forward to lay a wreath. And on behalf of all Silver Cross mothers, de la part de tous les mères de la Croix d'Argent, 2 cadets will now lay a wreath. Thank you all. Merci. Every year, several veterans and community organizations, as well as many members of the Consular Corps in Toronto, bring wreaths to Queen's Park to take part in the ceremony. We have placed their wreaths along with the veterans' memorials and would like to thank them all. For those that are watching online, their names are now on the screen. And you can also go to ontario.ca website to see the full list. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one last component to our ceremony today. Please turn your attention to the eastern sky, where momentarily we will see the newest Hercules model, the CC-130J, flown by 436 Squadron at 8-wing CFB Trenton. This tactical airlifter is used in diverse range of missions such as troop transport and tactical airlift, and has the capacity to land and parachute equipment, supplies, and personnel into adverse environments. It can transport up to 92 fully equipped paratroopers or 128 passengers. 436 Squadron has taken part in nearly every major Canadian Armed Forces airlift operation over the last 60 years, including peacekeeping missions, Afghanistan, and continues to support missions around the world. 436 Squadron also distinguished itself as a transport squadron in Burma during the Second World War. Nous vous inviterons à lever les yeux au ciel à l'est, où vous verrez apparaître d'une minute à l'autre à tout niveau le modèle Hercules, le CC-130, piloté par le 436e escadron de transport de la 8e escadre de la base des forces canadiennes Trenton. Cet avion de transport tactique est utilisé pour un éventail varié de missions, comme le transport de troupes de l'apportage tactique, et il est en mesure d'atterrir et de parachuter des équipements, des fournitures et le personnel dans l'environnement hostile. Il peut transporter jusqu'à parachutistes entièrement équipés à 128 passagers. Le 436e escadron a pris part à presque toutes les grandes opérations de transport aérien des forces armées canadiennes dans les 60 dernières années, notamment lors des missions de maintien de la paix en Afghanistan, et il continue de soutenir des missions partout dans le monde. Le 436e escadron s'est aussi démarqué comme un escadron de transport en Birmanie pendant la Seconde Guerre mondiale. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hercules C-130J. Mesdames et messieurs, si vous êtes en mesure de le faire, veuillez vous lever pour le hymne royal. Veuillez rester debout pour le salut général qui suivra les hymnes et pour le départ des dignitaires. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who can, please stand for the royal anthem. We ask that you please remain standing for the general salute that will follow the anthems as well as the departure of the platform party. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.